Hello, friends. Today we're going to read a poem from our big book. This is the front cover, back cover, and the title. The title of this book is Let's Be Kind, and this is the spine. Remember, this book is special because it doesn't just have one story, it has a whole bunch of different stories. And not only that, but it even has some poems. When I open it up, I see the title page. That's just to remind you of the title in case you forgot. And when I turn the page again, I see a special place called the Table of Contents. The Table of Contents tells you where to find things. Our poem for today is Kindness Is, and when I move my finger across the page, I see it's on page 22. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to page 22, and there it is. Kindness is. This is the title, author, and the illustrator. Remember, the author writes the words and the illustrator draws the pictures in the poem, and those pictures are connected to the words on the page. And also, the author of a poem is called a poet. And I also want to remind you that a poem is made up of some different parts. In a poem, sentences are sometimes broken into parts, and each part has a line of its own. And words that rhyme are often used. Some words may be repeated. That means said more than once. Now, before we start, let's talk about gifts. When do you give gifts? Why do you give gifts? And what are things you can give as gifts? Well, I know that a time that I give gifts is for birthdays. I give people gifts on their birthdays because I want to celebrate them and show them that I am happy they were born. Usually, I try to give them a gift that I know they will like. But most times, I like to give gifts that show how much I care using a skill I have. One skill I have that all my friends know is that I'm a very good baker. I'm good at baking cookies, cakes, and other desserts. So most of the time, I like to bake a special cake for someone's birthday. Those are just some things I give as gifts. But birthdays aren't the only time I give gifts. Sometimes I like to give gifts when someone's having a hard time. Maybe I can tell that they've been really sad, or just life has been hard lately, and I want to send them some love and show that I'm thinking about them and I care about them. I want them to know that I am here for them. A gift is a thing that is given, but some gifts are experiences or acts of helping. These kinds of gifts are not something that people wrap and give, but things that people do to show kindness. Because being kind is a verb, and a verb is an action. We want to see our kindness in action. And that is what this poem is all about. Before we read it, let's make some observations. What do you notice about the illustrations on this page? What do you see? You might say, I see some children drawing a picture, and it looks like they're sharing a piece of paper and the crayons. I also see some grown-ups and some kids, and they have a ball. Let's read more about kindness. When we read our poem, the essential question I want you to think about today is, how do you show kindness? And remember, when we read, we go from left to right and top to bottom, just like this. Across, next line, across, next line, across, next line, across. Then I go to the next page. Across, next line, across, next line, across. And that's the end. Our comprehension strategy for today is making connections. Good readers connect their own experiences to descriptions in poems to help them understand what the poet is describing. They think about how what is being said connects to what they know, have seen, or experienced. They also make connections between descriptions in the poem they are reading with information they learned in other texts. That means they think about how different texts connect to each other. While you listen to our poem for today, I want you to do your best to make your own connections with what you hear. Think about how you are kind. What things you have done that were kind. All right, friends, let's read our poem. Kindness is having 2 crayons and sharing one. Kindness is taking turns so everyone has fun. Kindness is inviting a new neighbor to play. Kindness is a gift we can give every day. That was a great poem. Now, let's make some connections. I'm gonna read it again. Kindness is having 2 crayons and sharing one. Kindness is taking turns so everyone has fun. Remember, good readers make connections with what they already know and what they're reading. When I read that kindness is taking turns, it reminds me of playing on the slide during recess. Every person has to wait in line for their turn so that everyone has fun. Let's keep reading. Kindness is inviting a new neighbor to play. Kindness is a gift we can give every day. Now, we can also make a connection with what we see in the illustration and the text. So, in the illustration, I see a girl holding a ball, and I see a boy waving hello. And it looks like the girl is inviting the boy to play. Since the poem says, inviting a new neighbor to play, the boy must be the new neighbor and the girl is asking him to play. I can also think about how I feel when I meet a new neighbor or a new friend. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. When I make connections to my own experiences, I understand the poem and the illustration better. Because I might say, I think she probably feels a little nervous, but mostly excited. Now remember, poetry is made up of different parts. Poets, the authors of poems, like to use those different parts to make the poem more fun and enjoyable for the readers. When we look at the author's writing strategies, we can understand the poem better and also use the same strategies to make our own writing better. One thing poets do is they use repeated language to make poems more fun to read and say aloud. Which words are repeated in this part of the poem? And remember, repeated means you hear it more than once. Kindness is having 2 crayons and sharing one. Kindness is taking turns so everyone has fun. Kindness is inviting a new neighbor to play. Kindness is a gift we can give every day. Oh, I heard kindness is a whole bunch of times. I heard it, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 times during the poem, and also that's the title of our poem. So the author repeated the words kindness is a whole bunch of times in our poem. I really enjoyed reading Kindness Is with you today. I can't wait to talk more about it in our pods. Do your best to think about what kindness means to you, and I'll see you later.